When did Jacob get into true crime? Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. Disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. When I was going live on, I believe it was Tuesday, we were going over Brett Payne's testimony. And in the end of that live, people were telling me that Ethan Chapin's mom, Stacy, was doing an interview on a channel called The Squeeze. I'd never heard of them before. Never, ever, ever. Imagine my surprise and imagine my daughter's face, because most of you guys know how she's into like vampires and stuff. So naturally, Twilight. Duh. Imagine when she came in here. Imagine when I first started this video and I saw this face. I was shooketh. Now, when it comes to the Chapins, honestly, the way that they're reacting to this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And I mean, I understand why there's a lot of people that think this is so inspiring. To me, it's not. To me, it's not at all. And this interview literally just concreted down how not okay this situation is. It literally is if the Chapins do not give a holy damn if the person who murdered their son ever goes to jail or not. She says stuff like it's not her job, basically to care how things are going in trial. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm just going to go ahead and play a couple of clips that I pulled from it. Again, like always, the description box will have the full-length video. Here we go.
Will you attend the trial when it finally happens?
No.
Will anyone from your family?
I don't think so. I feel like the investigation was in very good hands, but it is true. We legitimately don't know any more than anybody else. The affidavit that was issued a very long time ago, which is, is the same thing that we know. It's not my job. My job is to mom Maisie and Hunter and get them through this thing. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a detective. I'm not the FBI. It doesn't change the outcome.
Yeah.
And that's the greatest thing that one of the greatest messages I feel like that we've done in handling the situation. Nothing changes the outcome. We cannot bring Ethan back. So you could spend a lot of time there, or you can just realize that and figure out how to move forward. What do we stand to gain by being there?
See what I mean? It's not my job. What's it going to change? And this might sound horrible or whatever, but I was sitting here explaining all of this to my daughter. And she's had her thoughts on this case that are different than mine, but she's had her thoughts on this case since it started. She's been with me since I started talking about this thing, okay? I showed her some things Stacy said, and her reaction was, well, we know who her least favorite triplet was. And that might sound harsh, okay? It might sound really, really harsh. But it also might just be like true. And I might get all kind of flack for that. I don't care. The way that she is just like, how could you be like that? Like, I understand wanting to like move on and not just like sit here and sulk in the situation, but they instantly got over it. I mean, publicly. They instantly were just like, nothing we can do about it. Let me write a book. I don't understand that sort of whatever. Anyway, so now you're going to hear they apparently have a prosecutor in town that she went to school with that they get their updates from.
So we have a family friend who he's a prosecutor in town. He's a kid I graduated with. And he's just somebody that allows us to check in kind of, regarding, the hearings and the things that go on. He just is like, just settle in, Chapin family, because it's just going to be a long haul. It's just how this type of trial is going to go. And you don't want mistakes made along the way. So we just have to be okay with it. Right. And it doesn't, again, the outcome is going to be the outcome.
But is Prosecutor Man telling you the truth, Stacy? About how all of the important locations and times that could and would put anyone actually at the crime scene don't exist? So even if it was Bryan, they don't have proof that it was Bryan, just like now they'll never have proof of it being anyone else because your precious school tore down the house. Which is why I can't just get past the way that Stacy acts, the way the Chapins are just okay with certain things, because they're the only ones who are just like kissing the school's ass. The Goncalveses are on this side of the spectrum, and the Chapins are over here. And somebody needs to get in the middle, because this is just not,
Granted, our kids, have some opinions and they have shared those with us. But, as far as true factual information, I know exactly what you know.
I would really love to know what Maisie and Hunter really think. Because it would be a whole nother level of like screwed up here if they actually do have like other thoughts besides what's happening, and the parent Chapins are still acting this just like, not my job to give a crap what happens in court. Could you imagine if Ethan's brother and sister really legitimately had like a whole different point of view here and it's just being ignored? You would have to wonder why. Now get ready for some real hypocrisy.
The true crime nation is shocking.
Yeah.
But at the heart of every true crime situation is a family like mine. I mean, that is my PSA. And it is, we do read it and watch it and take the high road not to comment on it, but it is shocking what people have to say.
Yeah.
And the opinions that they have.
Then why are you always at CrimeCon, Stacy? You guys know that she's paying like hundreds of dollars to go to CrimeCon just for the ticket. Just for her to enter the stupid building. She's paying money to be there. And I never got an answer back from them, by the way. For some of you who have seen the fact that I'm really questioning what the hell CrimeCon's like whole thing actually is, I want to know where the proceeds go. Is it all just going back to the production company, or does the money actually go out there to like help families? Does it go to organizations? Not that I am aware of at all. And you have to pay hundreds of dollars to get in. It's like, I think the cheapest ticket's like $500. I could be wrong, but I remember looking at the website and thinking, oh, Jill's mine. Out of your mind. Even Pascal had said something about like, those prices are like, what? So all of these people that are at CrimeCon don't think that it's special or that they were invited or that it means anything about their validity. All they did was pay the production company money, the same way that you get like a Hollywood star. But if true crime is so bad, Stacy, why do you keep going to CrimeCon and being around all these true crime people? That's very, very hypocritical.
But we would sit and watch the local news, kind of, what they had to say about it. But we also had people embedded, all of the police and everybody, they would call in. We were well informed, I guess.
Well, I guess if she's literally just relying on the local news, that's probably why she's like, not a big deal. They got the right guy. Well, whenever you're the mother of a victim, you should probably be paying real attention, not just listening to whatever Banfield tells you.
We'd moved during COVID from our family home. And that's where the media went because they were able to dig up our old address. Nobody came to find us way up in the woods of North Idaho, which, we would go there for kind of some solace, I guess, if you will. And our other home is, owned like by an LLC. So nobody could find us. But we're a regular family. Kids played soccer and sports and it was, we were just literally genuinely. And then all of a sudden we were the top news story in the nation.
I honestly never paid attention to where they lived. Doesn't really matter to me. Still doesn't matter to me. Doesn't have crap to do with what happened that night. But no, you're not normal. Most normal families do not have A, multiple homes, and B, one of them being under a company name, under an LLC. No, that's not normal.
Why does somebody who doesn't know my son get to tell the story?
Yeah.
It was an issue for me. And so my friend sent me this notification of this author that was going to write the story. And I just, people, there's also, profiting off of our kid. It was really a hard thing, but we had to go get a lesson in, First Amendment rights in the media, and essentially they can.
Honestly, this part I understand, especially since we know that people like Howard Bloom or Blum, whatever, however you say his freaking name, okay, are vultures. All right. We know that as a fact. So this part I understand. What I don't like is that this book seems to be the only thing she actually does care about. She doesn't want to be at court. She doesn't want to make sure the right person who actually took her son away from her is put in jail. But she wants to make sure people know all about her book, which is why the title of this podcast that she's on is called the name of the book. And for those of you who go and watch it, you're going to see that she tries to push the introduction of them talking about the book before the podcast is ready to. And they have to redirect her. It's actually kind of telling.
The only thing that I can equate it to is maybe a country music artist who goes through a breakup and then writes their greatest hit. I literally was like, I'm going to write my greatest hit right now. I'm a little bit mama bearish. Don't mess with my kids. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're a what? Someone who says stuff like, it's not my job to make sure that the right person is actually going to prison for taking your son's life is not a mama bear. That's like the opposite. Jeez.
Where is he? I'm not sure where he is. He's up in heaven somewhere.
Absolutely.
He's happy. Yeah. We're glad Xana's with him. We were fortunate to spend a summer with Xana. She was super sweet. And she was beautiful. It's weird. You just think whatever makes you comfortable, right, in the process. And so, the fact that they're together, that's wonderful.
See, that part's like really sad. It is really sad. I really, really do wish that like the focus would have been more on that love story that was lost because they died together. Everybody focused on Kaylee and Jack, and that was so stupid because that was a relationship that A had been over because they had grown up and were going separate ways. And B was never coming back together. It just wasn't. And it was just something for the media to harp on. I mean, it got everyone's attention on the case. So I can't say that it wasn't for nothing all the bullshit, right? With the whole like Jack and Kaylee story. Because I don't think that obviously we knew about it. We knew about it before we even knew Jack existed. Okay. We knew about this quadruple homicide way before we knew anything, even their names. Even before we knew their names, people were paying attention to this story like, what in the world is happening, right? But it kept people's attention longer than a lot of these crazy cases because it's not like this is the only situation where multiple people were killed in a home. Not even the only situation currently going on right now where multiple people were killed by a knife, okay? There's multiple situations like this right now. Whether they be active, whether they be already solved and the person's been convicted, all around the same time frame. No, this was not the only one where a knife was involved in something this serious. It's not, and it wasn't, and it will not be the last either. I mean, seriously, look around us. So the Kaylee and Jack story served a purpose, but it just sucks because the real love lost and the real tragedy is Xana and Ethan. They were the ones who were together. They died together. And people forget that, I think. And that's like that's the most tragic thing here to me when it comes to the stories. They died together. It's just, yeah, it's sad. It's sad. So I can see where she and her way of religious thinking would be feeling like this and at least appreciative of the fact that even though it is horribly tragic, at least they are together, even though they should be together here, alive, thriving, not just a memory. Yeah. But when it comes to religious thinking also, I was under the impression this entire time that their religion didn't do cremation. But then she said this.
What to do with him? Yeah. His physical, like his ashes, like we all wear him. We all had like custom jewelry made that they put a little tiny bit of,
Now, some people that went and watched this whenever I posted it in my community tab yesterday are commenting on said community tab, holy crap, are you sitting here telling me that means all 4 of them were cremated? Yeah, I guess so. Because we really thought that Ethan wasn't, because this whole time we've had like the assumption of a second autopsy that was done over a month after the murders took place. So we really didn't think that. The majority of us didn't think that at all. So, I mean, maybe it just more attests to the injuries themselves than anything else. Because I know that in circumstances where the body has taken a toll, cremation is like the most humane way that you can do anything, because you don't want your loved one to sit there mutilated. And you don't want to present your loved one like that in their last moments of being seen by the people that love them like that. You know what I mean? But we don't know anything about their faces. We don't know anything about anything really when it comes to their wounds. We've heard scatterings. We know none of it matches. We know a lot of it makes no sense. But when it comes to their faces, I don't think we know. I don't really know if I want to know, but I know come trial, we probably will. Now, this is the comment she made that made me leave a comment that a lot of people didn't like.
I feel so fortunate for the 20 years that we had with him.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we would go back and change.
Yeah.
I would go back and actually do exactly what we did again, knowing the outcome.
How can you say that? Like, I understand what some people that are like doing this to me in the replies to my comment are saying. I understand what she means. She wouldn't have changed her parenting style. She wouldn't change anything because her life was oh so perfect. I don't really care if that's what you think that she means. How can you sit here and say this whenever you also are sitting here telling us that you don't even care really if the right man is in the courtroom? You sit here and say you wouldn't change anything, knowing the outcome of your son no longer being alive. You wouldn't change anything. Number one thing I would say is I would have definitely chosen a different school because that would have put Ethan in an entire different location. It doesn't matter that he met Xana and fell in love. Okay, well, he could have fallen in love with somebody else 10 years later down the line, but we'll never know. Will we? And even if you had the chance to do it over again, you'd still never know because according to you, Stacy, even though he died, you wouldn't change a thing. Do you know how many things I would change if I could? How many of you can sit there in your life right now and say that regardless of all of the insanity that has happened in your life, you wouldn't change a thing? Not one single thing. That's just very strange to me. But also kind of goes in with the fact that she's only really worried about her book and kissing the university's ass and just moving on with their lives like nothing happened. Because that's what they're doing. She's like, oh, we were just washing laundry and all of a sudden it just felt like everything was normal. And, we're just doing what, living our life. Okay, that's fine. You could have done that after trial. You could have done that all after trial. No one is telling you not to move on. But the way that you're doing it and as quickly as you did it is weird. And y'all did it collectively as a family. That makes us suspicious. Sorry, not sorry. Especially with what's going on with the university. And I have really tried not to eyeball them a lot because I didn't really know what to think about it. I know it was weird as hell that the university, Scott Green, I'm looking at you, all right, decided to just be at every press conference and be front and center for the entire thing for something that didn't happen on their campus. They had no right to get any money for this tragedy. None. It didn't happen over there. It happened off campus at a place where these girls had to pay bills. So what do you mean? Why were you taking over everything and now why is the house gone? The university should have had no say in anything at all. But yeah, that's it for all of the clips that I took. If you want to listen to the whole thing, it's in the description box as always. This just concreted to me that they really just don't care about what happens in court. So let me ask you something now, Stacy. This is directly to you. The way that I say things directly to the Goncalves, I'm now saying this straight to you. You and your husband. What are you going to do if come trial, Bryan is just let go because he's actually not the one who did all of this? And you've been totally complicit with the way that the university has done things to where now the person who really killed your son and Xana, the love of his life, they're never going to be found. The whole case is going to go cold. How are you going to feel then, Miss It's Not My Job? Do you ever think about that at all? Or is there something else that that you are so positive the wrong man is going to go down for this that you just don't need to worry because you've been paid not to worry? My opinion only, of course. There's something wrong here. There's something really, really wrong here. Especially since they decided to completely separate themselves from the rest of the victims. Now, I understand maybe them not wanting anything to do with the Goncalves because they're on that side and the Chapins are over here. I get that part. But for them to just not care at all, collectively as a family, sorry, not sorry, that's just odd. But I want to know what you guys think down in the comments. Yeah. Yeah, that's it, you guys. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please do not forget to leave a like on the way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. Do not forget that tonight we are going to go over Cyray's testimony only in a live. It starts at 7 p.m. Central. The link will be also in the description box. See y'all.